Mr. Rich, Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you? This is take 2. I sat here for like 6 minutes talking to a camera that I didn't turn the mic on. Nah, I'm running on not a lot of sleep, folks. Cut me a little slack here. Oh, for heaven's sakes. How y'all doing today? Doing good? I'm actually getting this done before the weekend. I'm actually going to try to get a little beauty rest. Look at this face, it needs it. This weekend, I have been going like a wild man. You folks out there could do yourselves a big favor. And that is, start raising Cain with your representatives in the government, state and local, and take it all the way up to the federal level. This nonsense, now up to 2015, if your meat had a label on it that said product of the U.S. or USA, you knew that it was cattle raised in this country under the FDA regulations, under the laws that the cattlemen here in this country have to operate under, to make sure that you had good food. Okay. In 2015, those very processors who, in the other video, I'll put a link to it here somewhere, over there probably, yeah, that very same group went to Washington, D.C. and pushed through to where on livestock, if it was substantially altered in the U.S., i.e. they have it shipped in here live, okay, and butcher it here, yeah, that now becomes a product of the USA, even though it doesn't have to be raised under the same conditions that we have to raise them. My goodness, yeah. And usually the quality of the beef is, what they're selling to these guys is what we call in the industry slaughter beef. Old beat up cows, that aren't worth much. They're not prime fat cows, okay? They're not. Old beat up cows. A lot of them are pretty tough too. Yeah, you see a lot of Brahmas and stuff coming in from not Mexico, but from Africa. Those things are tough, man. But that's what you're buying. And it's got a big label on it that says, USA beef or USA product or something of this nature. Now, your vegetables, they have to be labeled where they come from. Your clothes, your computers, virtually everything you buy has to carry on a, country of origin sticker on it. Not your meat. It seems like them big boys at Cargill and JBS and Swift and all these guys, well, Smithfield, that's Chinese, so I can see why they don't want it. But, Tyson, yeah. They all got together and went into Congress in 2015 and got that law changed. Yeah. Got themselves exempted from it. Isn't that something? I wonder if they had anything up their sleeve back then. Hell, check the video of the GMOs and so forth, and you'll see that, that time they were laying out their plans. And they got it done, okay? Raise Cain. Start screaming at your legislatures, this is BS. If that cow came from Africa somewhere or South America, I want to know where that meat came from. I don't care if it was processed in the U.S. I want to know where it originated. Because let me tell you something. You heard the old story that a cow has a pretty good life and then one bad day. That one bad day doesn't make it an American-raised animal, okay? Just because it came over here to end its life. You need to stop this. But it's a little like the GMO labeling. They fought that tooth and nail and still really, it takes an act of Congress to figure out their labeling laws to say, is this GMO or not? Okay? They're playing games with your food. It's about time you stood up and told them that is all of it. We're not going to do this anymore. And just tell your senators, since we're in your House of Representatives and so forth, since we're in a political season, you will either push through legislation to turn this around now, or you've got my vote gone. I will vote for whoever runs against you. I will see about getting you fired. And they get about 10 or 20,000 letters like that. Let me tell you something. They're going to take it seriously. Understand your politicians, as long as the money's being paid by the corporations is good, nobody's really raising Cain, and there's not a big chance of them getting canned over it. They're going to do what those companies tell them to do. It's going to take us to stand up as Americans and start telling the government, no. If your shirt or blouse has to carry a label on it saying where it's from, but your food doesn't, think about that for a minute. You are what you eat, not what you wear. So if you're putting poison in your body, I don't care how fancy you dress, you're not going to do well. And you need to have the at least the ability to make a decision. They've taken that away from you and actually lie to you about it. It is not a product of the USA. It was killed and slaughtered here. That's it. It came off a ship where all these animals are crammed into a cargo ship designed for livestock, and it's brought into a port, transferred to a slaughterhouse, and they get butchered there. You have no idea how that animal was raised. None. Need to pay attention. Need to stand up. Okay? Yeah. 2015, they rolled that out. Yeah. Got you used to seeing that grown in the U.S. or product of the USA, those, didn't they? Yeah, we sure did. And it's not just on beef, it's on pork, turkey, and I've heard they're doing it now with chickens. So, yeah. And I'm sure if they get away with this, then the produce companies will jump on board and say, hey, why is our avocado still got to be labeled? Yeah, it's like, yeah, here you go. You know, they put in these, and that's the way the government works. They put in these placate the people little laws and then give these clowns exemptions from it. So why go through the trouble of the law? Well, I'll tell you, shut you up. Shut. Back in that time frame, 2014, 2015, people were raising Cain about their food. So they wrote these laws and then turned around and started exempting these companies from those laws. Isn't that sweet? So it was basically, here, America, here's your laws, shut up, sit down. And we know you're too stupid to do anything about it. And these packers and so forth, they think you're stupid too. Okay? Sorry. I don't think Americans are stupid. I think they're busy trying to make a living and don't have time to follow this nonsense, is what I think. You're being told. Okay? And not just by me. A lot of people are screaming the same thing. You're being had. You're being lied to. You're definitely getting price gouging going on right now, because now the processors, to placate the cattle industry, have raised the prices and started buying American beef. Okay, that's great. That's wonderful. Their box prices, cut up meat prices, reflect that higher price they're having to pay for the cattle. Nobody's asking them to pay a higher price for the cattle. We just wanted them to pay the fair price. But it has gotten the cattle industry looking at this market doesn't work the way it's working. And there is a lot of talk now. Matter of fact, I know right now Gabe Brown's and some of his fellow ranchers in the Dakotas are looking at their own processing facilities. Yeah. We need to do more of that. Get processing facilities scattered out throughout. And they may be able to work them through the distributors, but to be quite honest with you, to get a fair price out of beef, And to not break your wallet in the process, we're going to cut out a lot of these middlemen. It's really going to have to. And right now, it goes from the cattle industry to the processors, who have been putting an outstanding markup on it. Whew, quite a bit, okay? To give you some idea, it takes several years to raise a cow ready to be butchered. Okay? It is in the process system just a matter of days. Alright? But yet they're collecting 2 and 3 times what the producer, who has had to feed that animal for those several years, God. Really? They don't have that kind of cost wrapped up in it. Especially if, you got processors like Swift out there that got tagged where they were virtually using slave, illegal immigrant labor at cheap rates to process your meat, holding their costs down, because they're not making enough. And now with the $1 billion a week nonsense, time you stood up. It would be better for you if that's the route we went. Couple of reasons. Yes, a little inconvenient, but hey, it wouldn't be bad if you think about it for 30 seconds. Especially for a family. Load the kids up in the car, go out to these farms, buy some fresh produce, and buy your meat, and buy your chickens, and buy your stuff that you need, your fresh eggs. Okay, no more of them store-bought suckers that have sat around for 3 or 4 months. Yeah, there's videos out there about it. Yeah, and they're truthful. See, the expired date doesn't go on it until it goes in the carton. They can sit in the cold storage in a flat forever. It's when it goes into the carton, the clock starts running. And it don't go in the carton until it goes out of the door. So be advised. So that's the reason fresh eggs look so different. And boiled eggs. You ever boiled a fresh egg and a store-bought egg? Store-bought eggs are a piece of cake to peel, man, after you boil them. Fresh eggs, not so much. Okay, a little tougher. Reason? They're fresh eggs. Okay, these things are not. Those shells, if you think about this for 30 seconds, they are not so porous that stuff doesn't start evaporating out of the egg, or if stuff gets poured on them, soaks into the egg. Keep that in mind, right? Eggshells are porous. So, use your head. Yes, there's a membrane in there that helps, but it'll dry that membrane out, and that's why the store-bought eggs are so easy to peel, by the way, because that membrane's dried out. Enough of that lecture, a whole different video, right? What I did want to tell you about, I actually want to talk to a guy about him, Paul. He had put a comment in, and Paul has done something on his own as a new cattleman that I had put in a video a few years back of, if you want to make money with cattle, you don't start off with breeding stock, okay? Because they cost a lot, all right? Because they're worth more, because they're breeding stock. He starts off with calves, young, inexpensive calves, raises them up, build his herd. He was kind of wondering if it was the right way to go. Paul, yes. That is going to give you the ability to still make profit when everybody else is losing their shirts. Because your overall cost for the calves that those cows will be dropping out is going to be way low. You're not going to have the big expense. Yeah, you got the time involved, letting them graze out, You can breed them off depending on the cow's build. I've seen them bred at 16 months. I always like to go like 18 to 20 months myself to alleviate potential headaches at birthing. But, in 20 months, you got some cheap breeding stock there, pal. And when you average that cost of that cow, let's say I in this old video, put 10 years as a very conservative production time frame. that you should get a minimum of 10 calves. Well, if you take the cost that you're into that cow and your bull and so forth, and divide that out by 10 calves, your cost's pretty low. Okay? So you can sell her weaned calves for less than anybody else in your area that it started off with adult cattle. All right? Keep that kind of thought in mind, and always keep your eye to the future. You have a beautiful little heifer fall out of one of them girls, you don't get rid of that, man. You hang on to it. If you have a cow that you got to keep pulling calves on, well, then she's probably headed for the market. Okay? And replace her with that beautiful little calf that fell out. And build your herd that way. You will make money when no one else is. That's the reason in that video that you commented on, I was talking about commercial cow-calf operations for beginning people starting out with cattle. Back in the gold rush days up in Alaska, everybody went up there to get rich, mining for gold. Very few got rich mining for gold. I can tell you who did get rich. And that was the guys in Seattle that was selling them the wheelbarrows, the shovels, and the picks. They cleaned up. Okay? They cleaned up. Because they always had a market when even the gold ran out. That's kind of what a commercial cow-calf operation is. These stocker growers, these backgrounders, these feedlots, they'll always need your product. That's their beginning start, is your calves. So even in weak markets, as they need to replace cattle, there you go. Tag, you're it. It's a good, solid foundation. Plus, if you develop a good herd with good genetics, then fellow farmers will be buying from you a lot. Okay? For their breeding stocks. So you've got it all the way around. See, the specialty breeders make money selling the big registered hooplas, okay? And selling semen and things of this nature. Or registered heifers. Commercial cows, you don't need to jump through all those hoops. If you've got a good solid bull, okay? Now the reason you'll see a lot of people use a registered bull for their herd bull is because he's been tested for his birth weights and things of this nature, okay? So you can look at it and go, yeah, okay, he produces small calves to start with, going to create less of a problem for me out there in that pasture when they start dropping calves. That's the reason a lot of guys do that. But you could probably also raise you up a bull out of your group and watch and monitor very closely. If this one particular bull seems to be the daddy of a bunch of calves that are coming in way heavy, you might want to take him out of the rotation, okay? Get him out of there. But if you've got another bull, even though he's not a registered, then you check him out. Is his calves dropping out like no problem to the girls? There's a bull you might want to keep around, okay? Use your head. It's not all about spending money. It's how you spend your money. Okay? And you, sir, are on the road to the right way to go. And yes, don't ever put one cow in a pasture. Cows are herd animals. They require that socialization. If you put one cow in a pasture and there's anything mooing within a mile, that cow's going to bust through that fence and go over to wherever those other cattle are at. You can get by with two. You can throw a couple steers out in the pasture and they'll hang around because they got somebody with them. They're very, very social animals. So keep that in mind. You're on the right track. What you do is right, Paul. Keep doing it, son. Hold that cost down. Okay, and you can build yourself a good, productive, money-making commercial herd just doing what you do. Raise them up, put them into production. Take the finest you've got out of that group, raise them up, put them in production. You'll have a herd before you know it. More than that, you'll have a herd that's putting money in your pocket, not emptying it. That's the way to do it, man. And if I can ever answer any questions for you, stuff of that nature, feel free to ask. Okay? Don't hesitate. You're on the right track, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know, you're setting yourself up to make some money in a commercial cow-calf operation. You can do well. Anyway, I don't want this thing to go real long. I know we talked about cows and stuff. The rest of you folks, man, if you're buying in the grocery stores, get on them. Get on your legislatures. Get on the government. Quit buying some of these products. You know? Find out, ask that store, who butchered this cow you got laying in your case? What was the processor? Okay? I'll tag their names at the end of the video. Don't buy their stuff. These clowns need to be put out of business. They've hosed the cattle industry and they're hosing you. And it's time America started acting like Americans. Alright? We are a free people. This virus they've been crying about was a flu. We're going to lock down every time the flu comes through. We've had worse flus. You will not deprive and should not allow yourself to have your freedoms taken away from you because the government says so. It is not within this government's authority. Period. Read the Constitution. They don't have that right. They can't deprive you of your freedom, your liberties, and your right to earn income. Not without due process, and I don't recall being put on trial on this lockdown. Were you? What law did we break? It's time America stood up and said it's enough. Because if we don't start standing up, we're going to get forced to our knees. We are. What happens when this flu comes back out next year? And it will. Why? Because we locked down this time. Not a lot of people got exposed to it. They'll be exposed to it next year. And we'll have more of it. And the media will go into a panic mode. And the government will be jumping up and down because everybody will be pointing a finger at them saying, well, you should have just left us locked down for the next 10 years till you find a cure. Wake up, America. Americans are a tough breed. Okay? And trust me, when I'm saying this stuff about this flu and stuff, I'm in that age group that doesn't do well with it. Okay? If you're younger than 60 years old, the odds of you dying from that flu get really slim, and the younger you are, the slimmer they get. Wake up, America. They're really pushing hard. There's no good cause for it. We've done this economy a great deal of damage, and now I'm beginning to listen to the rhetoric that's beginning to fly. How would you like to come to the realization that this was more about politics than health issues? Yeah. Sent all kinds of hospital ships and stuff to New York. They didn't use them. Was it that big of a crisis? People lying about how many deaths were involved with this, that the CDC had to write new rules so they could get an accurate count of what's going on out there? Wake up, America. You're being lied to. Better put your foot down and say, you know what? You all have gone as far as you're going to go. And then we can begin to push back of putting them back in their box. It's going to be hard. Real hard. Because, see, they wrote all these laws. You know? Now, did those laws fall within the guidelines of the supreme law of this land? And something for you to always remember. Everything Adolf Hitler did, everything he did, was legal under German law at the time. Everything he did. They can write laws however they want and say, see, there's a law that says we can. We need to put them back in their box. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and they are not to violate it. And they have shredded it. I love you guys, and I appreciate you. And I hope you're doing well. And like I said, start pressing your legislators about these labeling laws and quit buying from these clowns. And I know it's going to be tough because they produce about 85% of all beef in this country. But your little guys are out there working their tushes off for you. So here again, the option's still there. Go see a farmer, buy a cow, get it processed. And between now and then, eat fish. Love you guys. Take care. That was a little bit of a rant. I'm tired. We're going to tell you. Anyway, God bless you. Take care. Oh, that was a bad one for YouTube. Love you guys. Take care.